Welcome to Comics Bazaar, the channel of comics commentary and arcana. This video features Cyberforce number 3, cover dated March 1994, and this is part 4, the final part of the Killer Instinct crossover with Jim Lee's WildC.A.T.s. The cover here by Marc Silvestri, inked by Scott Williams and colored by Joe Chiodo. This is a pretty cool cover, pretty eye-catching, featuring Misery there behind the grave marker for both Warblade and Ripclaw. The implication being they're dead. I like this cover, it looks good. So let's open this one up to the credits page here, and we have Marc Silvestri credited as co-plotter and penciler. The other co-plotter is David Wall, the editor. Eric Silvestri, Marc's brother, is credited with the script. Scott Williams inks, but he's got some ink assists by JD, John Ty and Rich Johnson, which means they're handling the backgrounds, whereas Williams is handling the main figures. Joe Chiodo colors, he's got his own color assistants, Ollie Optics color separator, and Dennis Heisler and Mike Heisler, brothers, responsible for letters. So quite a striking splash page here, featuring Heatwave going up against Spartan, and the narrative captions state, high atop the snow-capped peaks of Gomorrah, two superbly trained, uniquely talented individuals are locked in mortal combat. The one called Heatwave is a cybernetically enhanced mutant. The other, known as Spartan, is a biosynthetic humanoid. They're high-tech soldiers in a high-tech war. Okay, fair enough. Great anatomy work by Marc Silvestri here, incredibly dynamic. The one thing I would say is that Joe Chiodo's colors are a little bit dark on the page. They could be brighter. So that would be my one criticism here of the colors, just a bit dark on the page. And also, again, the lettering, I've made this point before in relation to the previous issue of Cyberforce, the lettering comes out as if it's all in bold, and it makes it a little bit of a slog to read that lettering. It's not crisp, it's not clear, and that's something that should be fixed by them as they look back at this, I would say. So I think in future issues, like the paper quality it's not quite glossy paper like Jim Lee's got on WildC.A.T.s. It's definitely a higher quality paper than newsprint, but it's not quite the top quality glossy paper that Lee is using on WildC.A.T.s at the time, which makes his artwork that much clearer, and the computer coloring prints better, as well as the lettering. So this, I think some of the problem with the bold lettering has to do with the paper quality and the way that the printing, the ink is soaking into this particular paper. So anyway, we've got a Silvestri classic here, the double page half spread. And we've got here a dynamic scene of Grifter shooting at Stryker here, and Stryker saying that they need to target Mole. And we have Grifter making the point that they need to be careful because Cyberforce can't help themselves. Misery's been messing with their heads. So that's the setup, that's the situation, and really what we have for most of the issues, the two teams just fighting each other. And that gives Silvestri an opportunity to let rip with the artwork. Looks pretty cool, looks pretty dynamic. We've got Velocity there running rings around Mole literally as Cyblade goes in for the attack, Heatwave 2. So, you know, they're targeting and focusing on Mole there. And then we switch scenes to the lower level of Richthofen's exploded secret research facility, where Misery has been trying to get a stasis pod open, and she and Ripclaw have been attacked at the end of the previous issue in the crossover, the WildC.A.T.s part, by Warblade here, and that is another double page half spread by Silvestri. Just really, really dynamic work. Looks excellent. It's a pity that the story just isn't on the same level of quality as the artwork. So Misery has Ripclaw in her telepathic control. and she is demanding that he kill Warblade, and Warblade's launching himself at Ripclaw. Looks really, really cool here. Excellent work. And, you know, Scott Williams really blending well with Silvestri in respect of the finished artwork. So then we switch back to Cyblade going up against Zealot. And Cyblade gets the better of Zealot this time, and that's because Zealot was injured in the previous part of the crossover. She's bleeding out, and so she's weakening. I love this silhouetted shot of Cyblade kicking Zealot there. It's very nice work. And also, look, you're not going to see a lot of effort expended on backgrounds here by Silvestri. Silvestri's on record as not really enjoying having to rule out straight line backgrounds or very complex backgrounds. He loves kind of an organic type background, like what we have here, this natural scenery in the mountains. That's the kind of thing he enjoys drawing. And so all of the focus is going on the figures themselves. So under Misery's telepathic control, Cyblade offers Velocity a sword, and the idea is that she would become one of the chosen, a brave knight in shining armor, a member of Cyberforce, if she executes Zealot. So then we switch back to the battle between Warblade and Ripclaw. And this time, Warblade gets the better of Ripclaw, gets him up against the wall here, and is killing him. And Misery realizes it, and she has a strange, almost change of heart. She thinks about Ripclaw that he really cares, even after all these years, and not because I told him to either. I spent enough time in that crazy Indian's head to know I used to mean something to him. Maybe I should try to hold on to that, she thinks. But then, this is a little bit interesting, then something snaps. It was so sudden she could feel it. And the noise, what happened to the noise, she thinks, it's so quiet now, like someone just slammed the door shut. The door to what? I don't remember. Oh well. Couldn't be very important then, could it? Of course not. The only thing of any importance now is Dr. Richthofen and the wonderful future he's planned for us. Too bad you to get in the way. I hate it when that happens. It makes me cry, and you know what happens when I cry? So there's she overloads the synapses of both Ripclaw and Warblade, and she concludes there, that's better, good to let it out once in a while. Oh, by the way, thanks for all your help. I couldn't have done it without you. So a nice dynamic anchor image here of her letting rip with her power at Ripclaw and Warblade, and then we switch back. So we've got this back and forth going on. I'm not sure that I like it entirely, this kind of back and forth between the main action here and then the two teams fighting. And here we have again Warblade, or not Warblade, but rather Heatwave and Spartan still fighting it out above the mountains, and then Heatwave uses his power, superheated plasma, which he launches at point blank range into Spartan, and the narrative caption says it's almost always lethal, even to a biosynthetic human. Okay, and then we're back on the ground, and you see, this is the thing, I'm not quite sure about the way the story is being told, because the implication is that Velocity's been standing there for a long time with the sword. Here in the background we've got Grifter. He seems to be aware of what's going on, but he's got a gun in his hand, but he's not doing anything. And then we switch. Here we go. We switch again to Misery, and she's there basically saying to Warblade, you still don't get it, do you? The kind of power you're dealing with, you know how hard it is keeping all you arrogant idiots under control. No, of course not, because you need to be taught first. So here it is, Reno, honey, all the power I've got just for you. Now that's her fatal mistake. So using the power on Warblade, she loses her control over Cyberforce. Heatwave snaps out of it first of all, and he thinks to himself, wait a minute, why would the WildC.A.T.s be working for Cyberdata? So he intervenes to stop Velocity beheading Zealot. That's a pretty cool anchor image of him there using his Plasma Blast mutant power. and then he lands here. I like the kind of digital effect here of him landing, and also I like the storytelling in this final panel with Psyblade and Velocity coming to, and Zealot just trying to lift herself up off the ground. Nice angles and shots here by Silvestri. And then we're back again with Misery, and she's about to launch her attack on Warblade, and then he distracts her by asking, I forgot to ask about the baby. What baby? 2 years ago, you and Robert. Oh, you wouldn't know what I was talking about. Only Lydia would know that, and she's dead, just like you're going to be. So then he basically skewers her with his metal hand, which he's transformed into a literal Warblade. And so, whoever she is fatally, mortally wounded now. And we're back on the field of battle with Cyberforce in particular feeling her scream telepathically. They feel the explosion, the waves of despair, the pain of her dying thoughts, etc., etc. And this is funny little bit here where Maul also is feeling that telepathic scream of Misery's, and he falls unconscious on top of what's the name of that character? We're not told his name in this particular issue, and I've forgotten his name. The Cyberforce big strong guy. I just can't remember. Impact, right? It's Impact, yeah. So he falls on him, he impacts on him. Okay, a little bit funny. And then we have this nice top-down angle on Warblade and Ripclaw getting up off the ground, and Ripclaw there basically saying, was it true about the baby? Yes, I didn't know. So, that's like, what baby? What's going on here? We need a little bit more information on this, and we've got to turn this one around. Just make sure that you get to see that. That's a great anchor image there of the reveal that Misery all along has been a biosynthetic unit herself. And she says there's no feeling, no pain, only it can't be. Everything Reno said, it's all true. I was the double agent. I was the one who betrayed you. I was the one who died. Then Richtofen turned me into one of his things, one of those BZ units. So biosynthetic, humanoid. Oh my god, I'm just a machine, she says. Richtofen's robot, programmed to kill. But Ripclaw says, no, Lydia, not just a machine. The essence of what you were, what we had, hasn't changed. But here's the problem with that. It's hard to care. It's hard to care about these characters. It's all plot driven, what we've been reading, and the plot isn't terribly interesting, and the characters themselves just aren't very interesting either. They're very two-dimensional, and it's just hard to feel anything here. This kind of emotional climax where she dies and realizing that she's not the true woman who died 2 years before. She opens the stasis pod in a magnanimous final act, take what's inside and do what you think is best with it. And then she asks Ripclaw to mercy kill her. Give me your hand, I'll show you exactly where to go in. I must be stopped, Robert, she says. I'd rather it be you than someone else. And he says, I can't do it, Lydia. She responds, Lydia's dead, we both know that, but Richtofen is not as long as I'm alive. You must do it, Robert, now before it's too late. Goodbye, Lydia, I'll always remember you. And he ends her, so to speak. But, as I said, this is supposed to be emotionally resonant and meaningful, and it just isn't. I'm sorry, but it isn't. And it's so very different from if this was Wolverine and Jean Grey, which is what I'm thinking of behind these characters, the source visuals for these two characters, and it just doesn't have the meaning or resonance of a comparable scene between Jean Grey and Wolverine. Not at all. And then moments later, back to the plot, this stasis pod that everybody's been eager to get into, she's opened it. Warblade opens it up, or takes a look inside to see what's in there, tells Ripclaw to come over and see what's in there. And what is it? What does it turn out to be after all of this? It is none other than Spartan's arm from back in WildC.A.T.s #2 when it was ripped off by one of the Coda. and Richthofen was using it to build an army of BZ units patterned on Spartan's own technological body. That's all it was all about. I don't know, big deal really. So then moments later, like the two teams are picking themselves up after the battle. I like this silhouette shot of Warblade and Ripclaw carrying the stasis unit and its contents to the battlefield. That's nice. And I also like the way that Grifter's drawn here, just sitting on a rock or whatever it might be. That's nicely done as well. Silvestri, very good with body language. Really, really good. And this is a nice, almost full double page spread of the teams reconciling. Mole isn't going to be reconciled with Impact there. The two guys looking at each other and with their kind of defensive body language, the arms crossed. We've got Warblade and Ripclaw shaking hands. Heatwave looking at them doing it. A little bit of chat there between Spartan and Striker. Actually, this is kind of a funny joke there where, they're saying the next time they meet, hopefully it'll be on friendlier terms. Striker says, you can count on it, Spartan. And by the way, I would definitely talk to someone about reattaching that other arm of yours. Take it from me, it never hurts to have a spare. Okay, slightly, mildly funny, but this is completely weird here. So you've got Cyblade. I mean, they were trying to kill each other earlier, or Cyblade was trying to kill Zealot. And Zealot here says, I'm very, very much impressed by your surgical technique, Cyblade. And here we go, like a little bit of forced characterization here. Well, thank you, Zealot. I actually spent 2 years in medical school before the accident that changed my life and caused me to pursue a course that eventually led to Cyberforce. It's so stiff and stilted, the dialogue. Just not believable, not natural at all. And then this weird bit here between Grifter and Velocity. Velocity looks like she's got a little bit of a crush on Grifter, the cool guy. And he says to her, so what do you say, Velocity? Want to hang out with us for a while? Void will be here pretty soon. She can take you anywhere you want to go. Like, what's all that about? That's weird. And then Cyberforce take off. That's a cool shot of their jet taking off. I like that angle on the WildC.A.T.s standing below. The stances that Silvestri draws them in, and the lighting, of course, as well. Really, really nicely done. And then the dialogue. They will most likely meet again, these high-tech soldiers in a high-tech war, so it's bookending the narrative caption from the beginning. A war in which nothing is certain, especially the outcome. Okay, all right. Now, this is a little bit more interesting. This is more fun, actually, is the setup for the next issue. They call it Alphabet City, the lettered streets on the lower east side of Manhattan. Not the kind of place people usually think of as a business district, especially at 3 a.m. But then again, it depends on what kind of business you're in. And I like the way that Silvestri has drawn this area of downtown Manhattan, the lower east side. And it looks like he's not using a ruler maybe, that he's eyeballing the perspective here. And it looks fun. And I like the detail of the washing hanging out, or the papers flying out of the trash can, and the papers flowing down into the sewer there. And then down in the sewer, we have this guy with his kind of New York accent. And look here, no number C, not a speck of cereal. D's babies are clean. No way they can trace him. I like that. I like the way that Eric Silvestri is writing that dialogue, in fairness to the man. And then who's this figure? Who's this mysterious figure in mostly silhouette? And here again, so this guy's an arms dealer, and who's he selling to? Well, he's selling to Ballistic. So we end with this full page image of Ballistic, all tooled up for whatever it is she's up to next. Assault with a Deadly Woman. That is a nice image of Ballistic on the final page, but in like kind of at the same time also representative of the image era of Marc Silvestri's art. Just a full figure image of a character, not much in the way of storytelling going on there. It's just a cool image. It is cool, but I don't know, like there's no depth to it. I did pick up the next issue, and the next issue was not too bad. So there you go. Great art by Silvestri. a very pedestrian ho-hum story, the Killer Instinct crossover between WildC.A.T.s and Cyberforce. Letters pages there, 3 pages of letters, some advertisements. There you go. I do hope that you enjoyed this review and commentary on Marc Silvestri Cyberforce, the final part of the Killer Instinct crossover. If you liked the video, please like it on YouTube. And if you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel and stay tuned for more content like this.